Still have another 15 days to go out.
So long, bro.
So long.
Well, by the way, thank you for joining us. Join the conversation by sending messages through WhatsApp 0809 444 0981. That is the WhatsApp number. You can also send messages through Twitter at Smooth981FM. The hashtag is Business Express 981. We're streaming live on YouTube. You can use that function to send a message to, as well as subscribe so you can watch whenever we come on air. Now, our first story, before we get into that, just quick reminder, Reuters is back on Monday, so yay.
Yeah. Where did you go to?
I know, right? I wonder, he's making money. But then, stock market recap for Thursday, as yesterday. Negative sentiment still persists on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. The market was down yesterday by 0.11%. So far this year, the market has been down by 13.9%. Our first story is about Gokada. It seems like the motorcycle ride-hailing service, Gokada, has decided to shut down its services temporarily. Fisayo, please throw some light on this story. Why?
I'd just like to mention it's temporary, like
Temporarily.
temporary. Anyways, basically, what it was a blog post that came in sometimes earlier this week by the co-CEO Fahim Salem, who is Bangladeshi. Anyways, so it's like okay, if as you see of Gokada, try to use the app, one day to get from the VIA to somewhere on the mainland. But like he recounted his own personal experience using his company's own mobile app to order ride. First, from the fact that you order the ride, and then it took your bike, let's say 15 minutes to get to you. After getting to you, you got on the ride. This is where you're going to, and then the bike guy didn't follow the maps and all of that, and then it ended up taking him, much more time to get to where he's going to compared to if you had driven. Even factoring the traffic with the car. So like, okay, no, we need to fix this, right? So for him, as part of, the strategy was like, guys, let's just bring this thing down and rebuild it, rather than try to, manage it as it is right now. So what they're trying to do is that within the next 2 weeks, okay, so they're shutting down temporarily for 2 weeks to fix all the issues that they appear to have. So from training their drivers a bit more to ensure that their drivers are a lot more professional. They learn how to use the
app.
The app. They learn how to follow maps. He says something around personal hygiene. Just everything that ensures that the company works properly.
Random question though. How does the bike man follow an app when they're riding and their focus is supposed to be on the road and you just imagine a bike man looking on his dash that tiny.
Yeah, it's just to be okay. You're turning right next.
Or just phone.
You just put it in front of you. You're able to probably use multitasking.
No, I think there's a way on the dash.
Is that safety conscious?
No, somewhere on the dash where they can see it, where they can put the phone and put in there. But he did also mention things about Bluetooth headsets, so it's easier for the rider to communicate with maybe the driver to communicate with the rider, and so on and so forth. There like that.
So when you say Bluetooth headset, is that embedded in the helmet?
Yes, and in the helmet. Sorry, Bluetooth helmet.
Helmet. Oh, I see.
Okay, and so on and so forth. There, but I don't know. I worry to think that there might be bigger issues because there was another story that was circulating about the fact that their competitor is actually behind, and poaching, that they've poached about 65% of their drivers, so because they've got deeper pockets.
Is that allowed?
I'm wondering whether
I like the look of your face. Why not?
I'm worried about that. But I think for me, I wouldn't have shut down. This is just me. Again, it's just my opinion. Because this business is about maintaining top of mind awareness.
Yes.
There's no loyalty from the users. All they want to do is just to get to where they need to get to at the end of the day. So I would have shut down in phases. I would have taken off. They had maybe just under 1,000 bikes. I'd have done it in phases where I'd have taken the drivers to training and so on and so forth like that. But then begs the question, what kind of training? Because I knew that one of the things that they pride themselves on is the extensive training that the drivers receive. So what kind of training did they receive at the onset?
Yes, the drivers are still finding difficult to understand.
It's now become so inadequate that they had to do all the training all over again and shut down for a total of 2 weeks at the end of it. So I think there's more to the story. So
I mean, I'll just rather stay with the narrative that the CEO seems to be pushing.
The co-CEO.
Yeah, but again, if I think around it properly, I think it's a big problem for ride-hailing businesses. It's the same everywhere. Once, I mean, if you think around the car equivalent, right?
Yes.
That was one that was predominant in Nigeria. When the second one shows up, it just gave the drivers of the other ones better time, and then now they use the same app. So, but for bike, it's a bit more difficult because the bikes are branded. So you have to go and dump the bike of your former employer, and then move to the bike of the second. So again, and then there's still this regulatory overhang around it. So it's a difficult business to do in Nigeria, especially when you're not necessarily clear about how regulation will handle you. I mean, one of the potential commissioners or special advisors in Lagos.
Yesterday, you saw the statement, right?
It's just so irresponsible. Anyways, but it's okay.
Just knocking the whole system just because he feels money should have been pushed to the
BRT.
The BRT.
I mean, and then this is the same Lagos where BRT and Lagos they're having issues. The band again. So I should come and partner with the government, and then a new government show up in 4 years
and
on the same
scrap
party, scrap everything. I mean, so what's the point? Anyways, but I said it's Okada, so it's okay.
Funshaw sent us a message. Says, can you please tell me why, which daily newspapers? Okay, thank you very much for that. We would address that remotely. But then, special thanks to Taiwo for joining us, even if it was 5 minutes late, but it's fine. Yinka says, see, I'm not beefing Gokada.
I couldn't ride Gokada. They were off the road.
Good comeback.
Yeah, that's true. If there was Gokada,
I'd have been here earlier. So.
Wow. Okay. He said, but seriously, this is so cool. The affairs within Lekki is just crazy, not the caps. Note the caps, this is just very crazy. Not to talk of their keenness to rather plight the mainland bridge than within Lekki or VI. Now I hope some telecom companies or MD CEOs will try to use their own company's data to browse or do 1 month subscription to see how fast it zaps out. That's really true, because one essential thing that we should pick from that story, the Gokada story, that is how the co-founder decided to take it upon himself to try out the service that he's providing for.
Yeah.
Because most of the time,
I don't think that's his first time.
I don't think
I'm sure he
that's
does
the
it
first time.
regularly. I mean,
But I mean,
that's the
they
narrative
give that
he likes to
thank you
push.
as an official statement to say
Yeah.
this is why, because the interest of the clients really should
Exactly. So
be
you
more
answer, okay,
important.
I experienced this firsthand, and I understand the pain our customers are going through.
Yes.
And so because of that, we need to shut down so that we just address all of these things in one fell swoop,
It'd
and
be
then
nice
we'll come
for-
back bigger and better.
Yes. Yeah. Imagine if all CEOs try their service and give us honest opinion.
Let me tell you a joke, and I kid you not.
Mm.
I heard that one of the telco providers, that the guys, when they wanted to launch this 4G and stuff like that, that apparently,
Going on?
I don't know. I don't know the color.
Apparently what?
That they eventually, just to prove to the management
Yes.
that the 4G works,
Yeah.
they actually used to put a 4G transceiver in one of their gas boots.
Okay.
So
they can boost-
and he can have 4G signal everywhere he goes. So he'll be telling you he has 4G.
Wow. Okay. Next story is about the logistics startup. It's called Kobo 360. They made the news based on another round of funding they received. Allegedly, they said this gentleman received $30 million to aid Africa expansion.
Did you say allegedly?
I said it.
Okay. Well, they announced the funding round, so it's not alleged. It's not alleged.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
It's a claim.
It's okay.
It's
a claim.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
something that apparently has happened and has ended.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, so basically, they received $30 million. I hope the Lagos government now instead of it to be partnering with
BRT.
you're raising money for trucks. Anyways,
But in all fairness, that wasn't said by Lagos State government. It was said by
By
an
Joe.
individual.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, it's meant to be a commissioner. In
Yeah,
Lagos
well,
State.
it
It was
not
nominated. It hasn't. So
It hasn't been inaugurated yet.
There's nothing yet.
But it has
so-
been announced by the governor.
Well, let's
it was
go-
meant to be
focus on
confirmed.
Focus on the story.
Right?
So-
So anyways, so a potential commissioner can just come and say, okay, well, instead of you to be partnering with Lagos State government on truck movement,
That's his
you're
personal
investing
opinion.
$20 million on trucks. Okay,
That's fine.
Okay, let me just put it by side. Anyways, so Corporate 360 raised $30 million, $20 million in equity, $10 million in debt. I mean, which I think it's the largest series A, series B. I don't know which of the series, one of the series. Largest round by an African or by Nigerian technology-based company, and I think it's
One of them.
It's solid. I think what they do is that they sit in the middle of truck owners and then cargo owners, right? So rather than because the problems for shippers is that they have to deal with multiple truck owners to try and move their goods from the port or from their plant to anywhere across the country. But right now, what Cobalt 360 is doing is that it sits in the middle, aggregates the truck on one side, and then sells and then provides those trucks to shippers, so that all the shippers need to deal with is one company rather than deal with multiple
and all
companies.
the logistic bottlenecks are eliminated.
They help them manage all of that. So the companies can focus on their primary business, manufacture, ship, rather than you. Where are you? All of that. So I think that's what the value add for them. I think it's quite impressive.
So I mean, in addition to that, one of the things that they've done that I heard the CEO was talking about is that they've done some kind of healthcare for the drivers. There's some kind of welfare package for them, and so just they're really into their drivers, ensuring that these guys are well taken care of, and they can focus on the task at hand, which is helping these companies move their goods from point A to point B, or getting them to the end consumers at the end of the day. The other part of the story that I think is worth mentioning is the fact that the local players, the $10 million actually provided by local commercial banks locally here in Nigeria. So it just shows that, which is what do you call it again? What was the $10 million is for? Working capital, actually. So it's more or less like a loan, So which is interesting because that the local players are coming to the party, more and more. It's quite encouraging. So thumbs up to them, kudos to them. We hope to see more of these. And puts their valuations about over $100 million there.
$100 million.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
It stems for me. I feel like it stirs in a good way the tide of financial inclusion, especially with us mulling the idea of these telcos going into embedding financial tools or apps, whatever, in their service.
As part of the services,
as part of their services.
Properly.
This next one really caught my interest. I saw this video 3 days ago, and I like that Reuters brought us up. Student filmmakers in Kaduna who are making videos from their phone and editing. When I saw that video, exactly the green screen and everything, the sci-fi movies. I saw that video. Some of the things that jumped out, major factors that are affecting growth in terms of technology and innovation in Nigeria: electricity, that's power, data connection, and everything. Your thoughts, guys?
So for me, I think it's just it's exciting to see that innovation can happen outside of Lagos. So the pride, the thing around Lagos, once it's evenly distributed, right?
Yes.
So people in Kaduna can do this much, and then so it's just basically saying that opportunity is evenly distributed to people. Opportunity should be evenly distributed to people, so that these things can. It can support innovation across multiple places. For me, I think that's quite impressive. Now people with some form of funding support for this kind of people, for these students, basically they're able to support the Nollywood dream, because I've seen terrible animation, terrible effects. Like most of the most popular Nollywood movies, like
add a D before that effect.
Defect. But the fact that they're doing it earlier,
yes.
Number one, what really caught my attention, and honestly, if anybody's listening and they can, these guys really need support. They're using this smashed smartphone, and it's not a top-end smartphone. As in, they smashed there's a screen. When I saw, you should watch the video.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. The video is, by the way, is up on our Twitter handle at Smooth981FM. Use that hashtag.
So these guys are coming in early, and what they're doing might seem very basic now, but give them a few more years with the right equipment and the right support. And
imagine how much you can do.
Yeah,
the guy was saying that it took them 2 days, or it takes them 2 days to render because of the low
slow computer. I almost felt like donating my computer to them.
Thank you to Taiwo.
Fisayo.
Oh yeah, it's a main powerhouse now.
Thank you so much for stepping in. Let's continue the conversation on social media. Check out that video on Twitter at Smooth981FM. The hashtag is Grapevine. Business Express 91. Grapevine is up in my head.
Your mind is ahead, thinking ahead.
Well, Freshly Press is next. That's 30 minutes in at 7:30. We'll give you detailed analysis of our newspaper stories. Good morning.
Express on Smooth 98.1 was brought to you